give us an opening from ACCES. So thank you. And I'm going to do a bit of introduction about RBC to get to know RBC as an organization. And then Ria gonna introduce our team and about what we do at RBC Newcomer Specialist Team. And then we are going to get into the main presentation, so which is Your Brand Matters. So we're gonna play 3 short videos during the presentation. So I'm suggesting you to connect through your desktop audio, but for any reason, if you're not able to watch it, I'm gonna summarize all videos just right after. And then we are going to open up for some Q&A from you guys. And if you have any question, please put them in the chat box in the right bottom corner, and we would be happy to answer them. So feel free to put whatever you have in there, and then we will wrap it up and we will be done by 12 o'clock. All right, so let's get started. As I said, I would like to talk a little about RBC. As a proud RBC, actually, I would like to introduce RBC as an organization. And so as you can see on the screen, RBC purpose is helping clients thrive and communities prosper. And our vision is to be among the world's most trusted and successful financial institution. So RBC is actually one of the Canada's top employer with the best diversity employers and the best workplace. So all of our 86,000 employees are well diversified, and there are employees from different diverse community, and we serve actually our clients over 200 languages. So, and all of our 86,000 employees are guided by one set of values. So first is client first. We always earn the right to be our client's first choice. So second is collaboration. We win as one RBC, and we are partners, and we work together as one RBC to make sure our clients and our communities prosper. So the other one is accountability. So we take our ownership for personal and collective high performance. Diversity and inclusion, which is very important for us. So we embrace diversity for innovation and growth. So we speak up for inclusion, empower people to grow and achieve more. And I think that's why we are such a strong and powerful organization. And the last but not the least, integrity. So we hold ourselves to the highest standard to build trust. So now I would like to actually share a quick, wonderful video that summarizes who the RBC is in a 1-minute video. So let's watch the video together. So this video is also available on YouTube. For any reason, if you're not able to watch it, so you can just search it on the YouTube. Awesome. Thank you so much. So just close the video. All right, I really love this video actually. And as you just heard, so here at RBC, we volunteer a lot, not because we have to, because we want to make a difference. All right, so now I would like to actually hand it over to Ria to introduce RBC Newcomer Specialist Team. Thank you, Ria, over to you.
Thank you so much, Naz. Good morning, everyone. And thank you all for joining us today and investing in yourself by simply just being here, especially as we share our knowledge on a great topic today. My name is Ria Ragbir. I am an advisor at the Newcomer Specialist Team. I joined RBC in 2008 when I initially moved from the US. It's equally important to choose an organization that really aligns to your vision and values as a person. I chose RBC because I noticed how they're really invested in its employees and the clients alike. We've created unique branches around Canada. So we're not the typical style branches. We're one bank with many doors, and ours is virtual. And I'm really thrilled to tell you about our unique branch and our team as well, who's all present here today. We're always here to share our knowledge and our expertise. We have everyone online today. We have Farah, Felipe, and of course Naz is here as well. But we're always here to share our support, guidance, resources, the information, any connections that we have to the newcomer community, just to make your settlement in Canada as easy as possible. Yes, we are a small team, but we're a super strong team throughout GTR, ranging from the different departments and branches in the market. This way, we can continuously reach more clients and communities in our virtual setting. We sometimes lean on the industry experts who are always willing to volunteer their time. But it does stretch a little further into our community partners. Our success is contributed to the commitment of our community partners. Like today with ACCESS Employment, it's been an ongoing partnership with them since inception of our team. It is great because we're both so passionate about giving back to others and giving back to the community in any form. Together, we can help more clients and communities with value beyond banking, as well as showcasing the strength of RBC and ACCESS Employment at the same time. And we do have a winning partnership within our community, especially with our webinars and our presence and our team. So we enjoy building events of relevance, of interest to our newcomer community. And we have events such as financial literacy and beyond banking, especially with today our Brand Matters piece that we have. With these events, we're able to provide the advice on the Canadian banking system because we do know it varies from country to country. And of course, with our beyond banking pieces, where we provide the advice and the expertise just on every and anything that's beyond banking. So now I hope you have a better understanding of RBC and our team today. And now I'll hand it back to Naz to get us started on the main event.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ria, for introducing RBC Newcomer Specialist Team. You know, I always enjoy hearing from you when you talk about our team, about the activity that we do, and it was great. Thank you so much. So we're gonna now start our main presentation that I know you've been waiting for. So over the next hour, we're gonna talk about the basic of a brand, like what the brand is and what makes a good one, and how your first impression or how you show up professionally can make or break your personal brand. And Ria gonna talk about how to build a personal brand that's meaningful to you, as well as what does your social media profile and then post say about you. And she's also gonna share you lots of great tips to help you build an effective elevator pitch. So what is a brand? We're going to talk about this today. And, you know, when you think about what is brand, you want to think about what it stands for. Like, what's the identity of that brand, or what people think about that brand, and what people think about you. So when you leave the room, and how do you want to be remembered? So when you think about a brand, is actually that's what you associate with. And the next slide, I want to share you this. I know that you're all familiar with McDonald's. I hope that I'm not making you hungry. I actually love the McDonald's Big Mac. That's one of my favorites. But I want to ask you, like, what do you think about when you see this brand? Do you feel positive, negative, neutral? Maybe you can just enter your feeling about McDonald's in the chat box for me. So what comes to your mind when you see this brand? So let's see how many of you have a good feeling about McDonald's. You can just say you have a positive, feeling. You have a negative feeling. Okay, best fries. I agree with you, Ria. So maybe you do not have a, like, maybe your feeling is neutral. So you can just enter in the chat box. Okay, I'm getting some response here to me. So positive. Okay, seems that everyone likes McDonald's. Okay, awesome. So actually, I don't know if you have ever even thought about the McDonald's slogan. So you may think it's a good fast food. Some of you may think it's a bad fast food. So it depends on the person, right? Or for example, when you think about the logo, I'm loving it. So what comes to your mind? So companies always try to leave a positive image. So that's exactly what McDonald's trying to do. But for some of you, like it might be a negative feeling because you might think that McDonald's is a bad fast food, is not healthy, or some may have a positive feeling because, for example, it's convenient, it's accessible, no reservation, it's affordable. So it all depends on different perspective. But the thing is that, so, and also for the companies, a brand is how they see themselves and as well as how the public sees them. And a brand is about like image and reputation. And of course, the goal for any companies is to have a positive and professional image. But there is a question here. So what makes a good brand? So a good brand is consistent no matter where you go. So McDonald's can be seen as a good brand because it's consistent. So you get the same experience, same quality from anywhere. And McDonald's is actually may not have the best food, but they aren't even marketing themselves as a high-end restaurant. So the consistency is a key. And I want you to remember that because this is very important. So now on the next slide, we want to see that who has a brand. So, and I can tell you that everyone has a brand, not just big companies. Even if you have not worked on your brand, you already have a brand and have been sharing it with the people, with the world around you. So that's why it's really important that you have the opportunity to build your personal brand with intent so that you are telling your story in the ways of how you would want to be seen instead of just letting others tells you or dictate your story. So now let's watch a quick video together about what is personal brand. I'm going to just play the video about what is a personal branding. All right. So now you got a better understanding of what is personal brand. And as you just heard, or just what you learn is that when you think about the personal brand, so think about what makes you unique and think about what experiences or interests you had that makes you stand out. For example, like when you first start for job searching, instead of just trying to fit into the certain mold, you need to focus more on what is unique to yourself. Or for example, when it comes to resume writing, so you need to focus on your uniqueness, like your accomplishments and highlight and bold the skills, your accomplishment, and that makes you unique. And the guy was saying about always think of your brand through two elements. So one, how do you define yourself? And two, how do others define you? So what's the story they are going to share about you? So now here. So on this slide, we're going to talk more about what is personal brand. So a personal brand is your brand, and it's actually the whole you, as you can see on the screen. So at the center of your brand is your purpose, is your core value and your beliefs, like who you are. And your personal brand also includes like what you say, like how you communicate or how you interact with others, like your colleagues, your friends, your family, your community, and what you do, like your visible qualities that others see and experience. So what you say and what you do both should match who you are at the core. So what makes a good corporate brand also apply to a good personal brand? Like we will discuss about McDonald's and how a consistent McDonald's is. And you would want to have a consistent, positive, and professional branding, right? So another important is that your personal brand needs to be true. It has to be true to who you are. You probably heard about like fake it until make it, but I would say that is not a great approach. It's not a great idea at all, because your brand can be ruined in a split second if you cannot live it up to who you said that you are. So it also means that you need to be able to demonstrate the skills that you've presented in your interview resume. For example, let's say if you do not know how to use the Excel, so don't say on your resume that you're Excel expert or like if you say you want to be involved in a volunteering opportunity, so you need to make sure you raise your hand when the opportunity comes up. So this is very important that we do not overset something on your resume, and make sure that so what you're saying in your resume is actually live up about who you said you are. So now on the next slide, so let's talk about the first impression. I'm going to actually run another video. I want to actually introduce you to Sean. So Sean is interested in working at the bank, and this video is about him. So he is a recent college grad, and we are going to play this video, and I want you to think about what your impression would be when you meet Sean for the first time. So let's watch it together. All right, so now you got the chance to actually know Sean. And here's my question to you. So let's just say who is Sean again. So Sean, who would really like to work for a bank, and he graduated from college a couple of years ago, and can say his program was that useful, but he learned a couple of things. So it's better to learn, and that's what he said. It is better to learn something rather than nothing. Since then, he has kind of been exploring his options. So he works part-time as a dog walker for fun, and he likes to travel and lots of watching TV. So he was kind of thinking start his blog. He just doesn't have time. Anyway, he would love to work with you. So here's my question. So what kind of impression did Sean make? Like what's and would you want to hire this person? Like, would you want to work with Sean, like a person like Sean? And if yes or not, so what is the reason? I want you to enter in the chat box for me. So since you know Sean now, would you hire Sean if you've been a like hiring manager, or like if no, what's the reason? Don't be shy. So you can just enter in the chat box for me. You can say yes or no. Okay, let's see how many of you would like to work with Sean. What about you, Ria? So if I want to ask you, or let's say like if you can help Sean to read you this introduction, so what would you do differently? Like, let's say if you want to help Sean.
I think I want to start with the positive. He was very honest. He was very impromptu. So I think I would have something more prepared if I was Sean and I'm doing that sort of introduction. So I think that's how he should redo his intro. Just have something more informative. He did talk about, that he's a people person, which is very important, but I still feel like he could have done more. That's just me.
Exactly, you're right. So he was honest, but maybe he didn't make a good first impression, right? That's exactly. And this is a great response I got it from the chat. So he didn't give many details. That's so true. And I didn't learn much about him, apart that he walks dogs part-time. Seems a bit and distracted, probably probably wouldn't hire, unfortunately. That's exactly. So to be honest, yeah, so he was honest, but he wasn't focused, a lots of distractions, and maybe he didn't make a good impression, right? You're all right, but actually we don't want to judge on, that if he can be a good candidate for banking role, for example. It's like, it's like buying a book. So you do not judge a book by its cover, right? Because it's not fair, because what's inside the book should be more important. And eventually that does matter more. But the reality is that the cover also is the first impression. And about Sean, we didn't really get to know him that well. And so we were quick to judge, but always remember that sometimes we only have one shot to make that first impression, and likely you only have a small window when you meet someone to make that impression or show your skills or create an opportunity for yourself. So that's why we want to be prepared. So that's when we have the chance to make the first impression is a good one. All right, so on the next slide, we're going to talk about the professional presence. So your professional presence is actually an important part of your personal brand. So it's about how you show yourself to others in a professional setting. It's about what you say and how you say it, and how you act, your body language, how you actually dress, how you interact with others, and so much more. For example, like your body language. So think about how you carry yourself and how that tells people about who you are. And I'm going to suggest you to check out the Amy Cuddy's TED Talk. Is about your body language shapes who you are. For some expert tips and how you use your body language, Amy Cuddy actually is a social psychologist, and the TED Talk is about her research on the body language and how we can change other people's impressions simply by changing the body position. It's a very interesting topic, and I highly recommend you to check it out. Again, the name is Amy Cuddy TED Talk. So the other thing is about dressing for success. Dress for success. Show how you are by how you present yourself to others. It does not mean that you always have to show up in a suit and tie, but I would say like you need tidy clothes and tight shoes can go a long way to make that a good impression. And the next topic is about actually the social media profile and how the posts actually say about you. So I would like to hand it over to Ria. Actually, she's a social media expert, and I want her to share her best knowledge and expertise about the social media.
Thank you so much, Naz, for discussing, what you can do in order to have that good personal brand. Your professional presence is very important, and especially sharing how impactful a good first impression is. It's all like such great topics that you covered already. But I wanted to cover, what does your social media profile and your post say about you as a person? So how others see you is not limited to the in-person interactions that we have. Especially now with working from home, where virtual meetings is many of us the mode of communication for us. It is for my team. Most of us, if not all of us, we already have that online presence, and how you're representing yourself on the internet can really have that major impact on your social reputation. So think about your brand and what you've built on social media already and as is. Maybe back in your early teens or your 20s when you were like posting on that Facebook, and now you're posting on LinkedIn, and you still have that Instagram or the Twitter and the Snapchat. So ponder this for a second. What type of post or pictures or comments that you have on there, and what do they say about you? Now ask yourself this as well. Does your post really represent who you are and who you are as a person? So we do have those privacy settings on those social media platforms I talked about, and it can be a bit convoluting. I know over the weekend I had to help my husband make his post shareable, and I took at least 15 minutes trying to figure that out on how to do it. So privacy settings, needless to say, it's very convoluting, but you shouldn't have that as your safety net. Sometimes you can block or you can even limit people on your pictures, but that's not the case on all platforms. Even with groups and filters, you never know who can find them and how they can spread with or without your knowledge. So rule of thumb, and I always practice this myself, is if you're ever in doubt, ask yourself, what would my grandma think if she saw these photos? So that's just something you want to take with you. Just ask yourself that at every time. So moving on to our next slide, just take a few seconds to read these posts and put yourself in a hiring manager or recruiter's shoes for just a moment. So I'll give you a couple seconds to read that. So what would you do if you came across posts like these from your employees or potential employees? So people may have feelings about their bosses or colleagues, but you don't want to take that to social media. What would you do if you were their manager and you saw these posts? So it's not a good thing to post these sort of comments for everyone to see, but really and truly, it's being made public for everyone to see. And I know some of you are saying, oh, well, I'll never do that. You know, just that's the best rule of thumb is just don't post things like this because, again, you don't know who's going to see it. And on my next slide, just think about what you posted in the past. Again, you know, in the early 20s, the teens, again, just think back to that. And I wanted to provide some stats to you, not to scare you, but just to put things in a little perspective for you. So 92% of employers hire directly from social media, and 79% of social media-based hires are through LinkedIn. 55% of recruiters have reconsidered a candidate based on their social media profile. So personally, I think this is great because if you're doing it right and you're strong, you're positive with your online presence, you can position yourself for those future opportunities and that career growth. I'll give you an example. So Naz and I, we share our events on our LinkedIn. Here we can, you know, profile the good work RBC is doing and how we're creating awareness of our newcomer specialist team and the events that we put on, just like today. So I wanted to share some suggestions that I've gathered along the way when it comes to LinkedIn. So using a great profile picture can get you 14 times more views. Try to get a professional one done. We do have those high-tech phones nowadays, so you can get a pretty decent photo. Follow companies that you admire or you want to work for. Search for hashtags that can help you in your job search, job opening, now hiring. Those are some examples of hashtags that you can definitely capitalize on. But moving on to a really great quote. So it's said by Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, and he famously said, personal branding is what people say about you when you leave the room. So what do you want people to say about you when you leave the room? And, you know, I never thought about that until I actually started discussing it at events like this with Naz. And, you know, it really ties in your first impression and how you want people to see you and how you want to be remembered. So you want to know like what they would say about you. So in doing so, you're going to provide a very good first impression. I wanted to also move on to our next slide. And here you want to tell your story. So you might have an idea of what people, you know, say about you when you leave the room. But here you probably want to just practice really quick and put it down on paper. And some things that you wanted to jot down is I'm good at, I value, I'm interested in, I have experience with, I look forward to developing, and I hope one day. So I guess these are the components that Sean could have used for his introduction, because here he's gonna, you know, he was essentially telling his story. But if it had like strong keywords like this, like I said, I'm good at, I value, I'm interested in, I have experience with, those are the things you want to incorporate in that. So don't limit yourself to work-related strengths. Feel free to use work-life examples. That's always a nice touch to do. Try to focus on the first things that come to mind, when you do tell your story. And some examples of, connecting the dots and telling your story and leveraging your skills and experiences is, say, for example, you have experience with babysitting. Maybe you're a caring and you're a patient person because, taking care of a child is not a small task. You're quite personable. You've built this trust already with the child. You're very organized. You help clean up the toys when you're done. You have that routine and you have that child on a schedule as well. And you're flexible and a quick learner. So those are the key words that you want to incorporate and say why. So that's just one example that I wanted to share with you. And now I wanted to move on to our next piece, which is what is an elevator pitch? So it is exactly what it sounds like. An elevator pitch is basically a sales pitch that markets you as an individual in a very short period of time. It's a short and memorable soundbite, if you will, that introduces who you are and what makes you unique as a person. So it should be natural, it should be easy to understand. So I guess that would be, again, Sean's piece. That's essentially what he was doing, telling his story and providing his elevator pitch. So in theory, you can use your elevator pitch to introduce yourself to someone that you met by chance, and maybe in an elevator in this case. So there are many opportunities aside from the elevator ride that you can use your pitch as well. Somebody that you meet at a coffee shop, somebody that you meet in line somewhere, or if you're doing an introduction of yourself at a hiring event. So those are examples, that are top of mind for me right now, where you can use your elevator pitch. But also be mindful that your pitch might be different depending on the situation or the person that you're meeting, for sure. So I wanted to show a quick video, and Naz is going to populate that for me, just a quick video on an elevator pitch. So Naz, if you can get that for us quickly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Naz. So those are great examples of well-structured and well thought out, and it doesn't sound rehearsed in my opinion. I just find it's very well thought out, like I said, and very structured, and they covered a lot of components which I want to cover here with you, and just some tips on how to start building your elevator pitch. So with your pitch, you want to have these three components: who you are, what's unique about you, and what do you have to offer, and suggestion for the next step. So if you remember the last gentleman, he asked if you can connect on LinkedIn. So that's the next steps that that he talked about. So who you are. So first, introduce yourself and include your school, your program that you're studying, your current job, the team that you're working with. Make sure you make a connection here and show and let them know why they should want to know who you are. For example, I saw your presentation on X event. I really enjoyed your speech on the topic. I believe that you have a marketing coordinator role open in your team. Is it okay if we connect via LinkedIn to discuss it further? That's just a quick example. And the other component, what's unique about you? What do you have to offer? So think about this as your value proposition. You're, again, a sales pitch on yourself. What are your major accomplishments, your unique skills? What are your passions? So those are the things you want to cover off on that piece. And then the suggestion of the next steps. So this is your call to action. It lets others know that what you're looking for and how they can help you. So again, going back to the gentleman, would it be okay if I connect with you on LinkedIn? I'd love to take you to a coffee and we can have a coffee chat. I've read some great articles. Is it okay if I share it with you on LinkedIn? That way you're establishing that connection with them. Here's a pro tip. If you choose to use email or LinkedIn as your follow-up, remind the person of the context in which you met. So again, we met at this event, this brand matters with RBC and ACCES. I heard you speak, and then find ways to continue the conversation. I wanted to provide just a couple more additional tips that may help you in building your elevator pitch. So think about how you can capture that person's attention and spark their curiosity. You can start by making sure your pitch is purposeful, so you're producing value to that target audience. Don't be afraid to hone in on your uniqueness. Demonstrate the things that differentiate you and sets you apart from the competition. Your elevator pitch should be natural, honest, and authentic. So you don't want it to sound robotic or that blanket version. It's going to be tailored again to the person that you're meeting and the environment that you're in, of course. And my last tip, and probably one of my most important ones, is an elevator pitch shouldn't be longer than 30 seconds. Think about, again, an elevator. What if the person's getting off on the second floor? You only have 30 seconds to tell them about you from floor 1 to floor 2. So you really want to keep that piece and keep it, just not longer than 30 seconds. So practice makes perfect. And on my next slide, I wanted to cover that. You want to consistently refine your elevator pitch. And it will help you take it to the next level. So ask a family member or friends to be able to practice with them. And, here's some things you should be mindful of when crafting that elevator pitch. Is it clear? Is it concise? Is it compelling? Do you catch that audience attention? Does it communicate your value? So in other words, does it showcase what your strengths are? Does it provoke further curiosity? Is your audience interested to learn more about you, or do they think you're boring? So you want to, provoke them to be so interested in you. Does it open the door? So does your elevator pitch lead to further conversations or connections? Would that person want to reach out further to you? So those are some ways how you can, consistently refine that elevator pitch and make it, something more concrete. And now moving on to a really great question. When should I use my elevator pitch? As funny as it sounds, the opportunity to be able to pitch yourself to a stranger in the elevator may not come as often, especially in our digital world, and many of us that are, working from home. So you may not get the opportunity. You may have to pitch yourself on camera like today, or again, worse off if that person is coming off on the second floor. So some examples of when you can use your elevator pitch and tell your story is at a networking event, when you're meeting someone new, when a hiring manager or recruiter asks you that famous question, tell me more about yourself, at the job interview. So that's a great example and probably the most popular. Your elevator pitch is not limited to that verbal format. You can tell your story as a bio on your resume. And social media profiles such as LinkedIn, you do have About Me section where you can tell about yourself. You can also use it as an email introduction to ask someone to meet with you for coffee or for job shadowing. Naz and I get these quite often for these virtual coffee chats, on LinkedIn, and they tell us about themselves and then they invite us for a virtual chat. So these are some examples of when you would use the elevator pitch. And an elevator pitch itself, it's very versatile, and the opportunity to use it may not come, as planned or scheduled. It can come at any unexpected time. So always be prepared and know your story. Obviously, be comfortable in your shoes to tell your story and pitch yourself to someone. And my final thoughts on my next slide, and I'll summarize everything that I've said. Your personal brand, it does encompass the whole you, your values, your actions, your words, and so much more. So this quote, I think it's pretty awesome. It's by Jay Danzy, and it really, really sums up the power of your personal brand. So your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card, and how you leave others feeling after having an experience with you becomes your trademark. I think this is an exceptional quote that I only learned after presenting and being at events like this. I think it's wonderful, and you guys can actually copy it if you'd like. And again, just to summarize everything, to have a great brand, you first have to know yourself and what's great about you. So really, know who you are as a person. It can also be helpful to know how others see you. So ask your family members, ask your friends, because you don't want to be limited to your own self, critiquing. You want to have other input. So get that fresh perspectives from other people. Be mindful of your professional and social media presence and what it says about you and how you make an impression on others. Put your words to good use, promoting your personal brand and your elevator pitch. That short introduction is a great way to say, what makes you unique, and to make that great first impression. And lastly, there's help in many forms. So leverage the people in your network, your friends, your family, your colleagues, my team. We're always here for you. We're a great resource for that. There's other resources online, including the RBC launching career playbook. We have a lot of resources on our RBC website, but your face-to-face person and would essentially be our team. So again, we're always here for that. So that brings me to the end of our presentation today, and we really, really want to welcome your questions. You have some experts here with you, and we're definitely willing and open to your questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ria, for sharing lots of great tips about networking, how we can, be prepared for elevator pitch. As Ria mentioned, is really important because we want to be prepared so that when we have the chance to make the first impression, we have a good one. So great tips about like how we can make the elevator pitch. Always I remember the 3 components, like who you are, what's unique about you, what do you have to offer, and suggestion of the next step. So that's why it's important you know yourself and you know what makes you unique, your accomplishment, and include that into your resume or even the elevator pitch. The elevator pitch, as Ria mentioned, doesn't need to be long. Obviously, it needs to be tailored to who you are talking to, but make sure it's just short. I would say just even less than 30 seconds, right? And just be honest and authentic, which is really important. Thank you so much, Ria, again, for bringing up so many great points. And now we have time for your questions. So feel free to enter your question in the chat box for us. Or maybe if any of you actually would like to practice the elevator pitch, we would love to hear from you. Okay, so don't be shy. So we would love to hear from you. This is is an opportunity for you guys to practice your elevator pitch just based on what you learned today. Maybe I can ask one of my team members to volunteer. Anyone would like to share the elevator pitch team?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind going.
Yes, Farah, thank you. Go ahead.
So I'm sure, like with all our elevator pitches, especially when we're first starting out, we probably need to refine it after. So this is just an example here. But so, hi, my name is Farah. I'm a banking advisor with the RBC Newcomer Specialist team. I'm part of a team that organizes and hosts events for newcomers and students to Canada. I saw your presentation at the RBC Future Launch, and I really enjoy your speech on providing opportunities for youth in the community. In my free time, I'm a part of a youth program that builds self-confidence and leadership skills. I believe you have a settlement counselor role open on your team. Would it be possible to connect with you on LinkedIn?
Awesome. Great job, Farah. That's exactly what I wanted to hear from you. Like it has all of the 3 components. you talk about yourself, who you are, about your uniqueness, what you do, and also the next step. We have a great question here. Does it really matter if the elevator pitch goes over 30 seconds? I would think that so long as what you are saying is informative, I wonder if anyone will be timing you. Absolutely, it's okay if it go over 30 seconds. This is just a suggestion because the elevator pitch needs to be quick to make that first impression. Totally depends on the situation. Sometimes you are in an interview. Your first question might be about who you are. That's kind of an elevator pitch, but obviously, so you want to make sure you include more things about you, right? So it's definitely is can be more than 30 seconds, but the ideal is 30 seconds, and depends on the situation. Depends on who you're talking to. Is it interview, or do you have like a very short time frame to make that impression? Awesome. Anyone? No problem at all. Thank you so much for the great question. Maybe, for example, I'm going to share mine. So let's say I'm just looking for the client advisor position. So I would say my elevator pitch like this. So let's say I'm just talking to a hiring manager. Maybe I met someone and I do not have enough time. I just want to make that first impression very quickly. I would say that, hi, my name is Nazanin. Nice to meet you. I'm really interested in client advisor position at RBC, and I believe that I can be a good candidate bringing more than 10 years of customer service experience, and I would love to be part of your team. Would it be okay that if we can set up the coffee chat call? So I would say like this, like again, 3 components: who I am, I focus and I bold my my skills, the uniqueness, which is related to the client advisor role. As I said, like I can bring more than 10 years of customer service experience. So this is the skills that I do have, and because I'm actually talking about the client advisor position, so that's how I wanted to actually focus and then bold that uniqueness, and as well as my interests that I would love to be part of the team. And also don't forget the mentioning the next step, that what would want to do, like you can say, would it be okay that if I follow you on the LinkedIn, or can we you know, set up some like a coffee chat call, or like it can be anything, but is perfect that if you can include the suggestion of the next step. All right, so let's see if we get any other question.
We have a question in the chat here. So it's from Cindy, and it says, the video and most examples show an elevator pitch for people who have relevant experience in the field they're connecting into. How can it be used from people who are just starting out or may not have the experience in that particular field? So I think that's a great question, right? A lot of times, maybe when someone wants to change maybe the career that they're going into, right, they kind of feel this way. And I can't remember if I was someone had, I think it might have been Ria, touched on like transferable skills, right?
Exactly, Farah. You just, first of all, this is an amazing question. This is a very great question. So we get this question a lot, and you just touch on it, the great points, Farah. So it's okay if you do not have Canadian experience. So what you need to focus and include in your elevator pitch is your transferable skills, interpersonal skills, your soft skills. For example, getting back to my own elevator pitch about the customer service experience. So I just, how I, you know, actually I brought it up is about I can bring more than 10 years of customer service experience. It's okay that if you do not have a Canadian experience, but what about your other experience? Like, or maybe if you're changing the industry, so what are those transferable skills that you can focus on? Like something like communication skills. So something like, you know, like teamwork, being a teamwork, being organized. So there's going to be so many transferable skills, or sometimes we call it soft skills, that you can include into your elevator pitch. Because as you just remember, we talk about the uniqueness, right? It's not about having the Canadian experience, it's all about what makes you unique. And definitely we can come up with a great elevator pitch without having a Canadian experience. That was a great question. Awesome. So I don't see any other questions here. Okay. So even if you have more questions, even if you would like to practice your elevator pitch, but you do not want to share here, you rather to have a one-on-one call with us, we would love to, you know, set up some times with you so you can just easily scan our QR code, you can directly reach out to me, to Ria, or Farah and Felipe. And then you can ask for the, that's what we do. We would be more than happy to spend some time, maybe a quick call with you guys if you would like to practice your elevator pitch, or if you have any related questions, even if you have any questions about the banking, because we're also bankers, we're also advisors, or anything about the beyond the banking. So we would love to have that call with you guys. You can directly reach out to myself, to Ria, or to Farah and Felipe. Their email address is at the bottom, or you can easily scan the QR code. Okay, so I have another question. How do I make contact with the RBC team that helps the new arrival? So I think that I just answered your question. So please feel free to reach out to us. So again, you can reach out to myself or just Ria and Farah or Felipe. Is it the group the same as RBC Meeting Place? Yes, we are same as RBC Meeting Place. It's just we have another name because our team is virtual. So we do not have a place. You can call us RBC Meeting Place, or we also are newcomer specialist team, but it's the same team exactly. So we are the Meeting Place or newcomer specialist team.
Thanks, Dominic. He met us initially back in 2021 when we were the newcomer. We were the RBC Meeting Place. So we've established contact since in Trinidad.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining, Dominic.
So actually, Keisha, do you have a few minutes? So because he wants to actually practice the elevator pitch, maybe quickly, if we can unmute him.
Yes, let me just check one thing. I just need to make sure that we don't have any conflicts with the Zoom. Okay. Oh, we're not using Zoom. It's fine.
Okay,
yes,
awesome.
I can unmute him. No problem. Give me one second. Okay, Dominic, you should be able to speak now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. Wow. All right. Good morning. Oh, should I say good afternoon? No, it's almost good day. Okay, my name is Dominic, and I have an interest in estate planning. My background is in law, my British degree, and I also have an MBA, which took my legal training a little further in exposing me to estate planning and to the tools of that process, learning about insurance. So I bring a unique combination of skills to this job function. And I would be interested in finding out from you a little more about the estate planning process as it functions in RBC, so that I could learn more about the actual practice of the profession in your institution. So if you could meet with me, either virtually or in person, I would really appreciate that. And I am also available through LinkedIn.
Awesome. Okay. Great job. Thank you so much. I'm already so impressed by your elevator pitch.
Really? Oh my God.
Great job. Yes, you learned.
I just decided to jump in and try it.
Exactly. Thank you so much, first of all, for sharing that. I'm already so impressed. With all of your expertise. You did a great job in order to just build what is unique about you, about your experience, right? And again, it's not about the Canadian experience, it's all about the experience. And you actually include the next step, that this is what you're interested in, that shows interest. And as well as the next step that you would like to, just meet, through the virtual or call. And you also brought it up, you're available on the LinkedIn. Awesome, great job. I don't know if Ria and Farah, you want to also add any comment?
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted, Dominic, I think you really listened, and I am so thankful that you joined today, because it seems that you took really great notes and you covered all the components that I talked about. You covered your skills. You said why you're interested in finding out about the estate, about RBC, and how you tie that in with your existing experience. I think that was really great. So I applaud you for covering everything that we talked about today. So thank you, Dominic.
Okay,
great job.
That is very encouraging. Thank you, Ria. Thank you all.